Any other audience questions out there that have been done since we, I'll come back one second. Is it the sheriff's question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Woodward, the first question from the audience is for you, and it basically asks, you have mentioned your 28 years in law enforcement experience. Can you elaborate on the years and what agencies have you actually worked for in that time?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Creech. I started as a Hardyville patrolman in Hardyville, South Carolina. I moved my way to Ridgeland Police Department, and I was hired by Clifford Brantley, the sheriff then, in 1983. I worked for Johnny Raymond. I've worked for Randy Blackman. I've also worked for Ben Riley, and I also worked for the sheriff now, Greg Jenkins. And it's been an honor to work with all of the sheriffs. And they've taught me a lot of things. I wore a lot of sleeves in the sheriff's office, you know, all the way from patrolman all the way up to chief deputy, you know, and I've seen a lot of good things come and go. I've seen a lot of good people come and go, okay? And I want to be your next sheriff. That's the only thing that I have not done as a law enforcement officer for you in Jasper County, and I'm ready to be that. Thank you.
The next question is for Sheriff Jenkins, and it says, when you speak of other resources from other departments, is that for day-to-day operations or when an emergency arises? And then it also says the $2.3 million budget, how long has that been the sheriff's operational budget?
First of all, to answer the question, we have resources that are available 24 hours a day. But we do have resources that are available that should the need arise in an emergency situation, like we had today, but we used our own resources. We had 10 officers out working one particular incident where there was a robbery. And that was just from the sheriff's office itself. We did not use outside resources. So ladies and gentlemen, again, when I'm saying resources, that's vast. That goes from SLED, that goes from the 45 other sheriffs in the state of South Carolina. Every 3 months we meet as sheriffs. We have a convention where the sheriffs in the state of South Carolina meet. On that, we have an agreement where we're mutual. We can go from Spartanburg, from Greenville to Charleston, you name it. We're all working together. And that's all the sheriffs in the state working together. As far as the budget goes and doing research based on that question, that budget goes back probably 15 years, 15 or a few years better. We did the research on it, and we have not exceeded any more than, we were less than $3 million. We've been operating on a $2 million budget for the last 4 years. Thank you.
All right, the next question is for all three, and we'll address it in order of Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Woodward, Sheriff Jenkins. And the question is will there be more officers patrolling in the area of Low Bottom due to an incident that took place and it took 45 minutes for an officer to get there in a domestic case?
Well, that's what I stated in the very beginning in my opening statement. You come up with a strategic patrol plan. That's something that's never been implemented at Jasper County Sheriff's Office. Working on patrol, sometimes would come from Levy area to the Robertville area. Sometimes it would take us 45 minutes to an hour. Jasper County Sheriff's Office, that's how we've been operating since the 1990s. Ladies and gentlemen, we deserve better. What I'm saying is, with a strategic patrol plan, we can increase the response time from those 45 minutes to 10, 15 minutes at tops. You deserve that kind of service. And as a sheriff, that's the kind of service that you will be getting. Faster response time, better visibility, and more officer presence. You'll get a chance to know the officers in your area, so we'll be able to develop more community-oriented policing. And that's what's needed in Jasper County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Yes. To answer that question, yes. Here's how it's going to happen. I'm going to get people out of the office and I'm going to put them on the street. If I put them on the street, they can get to your house faster and better and quicker and make sure you're safer. That's the answer to that question.
Let me answer that like this. The state of South Carolina says there are criminal laws and there are civil laws. You have civil, you have tort laws. Just because we have blue lights and sirens, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have the authority to speed down the road to a call. By law, we have to drive with due caution. Unfortunately, it takes 35, 45 minutes. We have 2 officers sometimes, 3 officers working a shift. That's 12-hour shifts. That's not including people that have vacation time. That's not including if that officer's in Robertsville. That officer's in Robertsville, we have what we call a north end, south end. I'm gonna be real fast. If I have an officer down here in Robbinsville, that officer gets a call to go to Low Bottom, that's a ride. We'll use other officers in that office. And I can assure you that, as I have been there, we'll use officers, and this is what I was saying earlier, we use every available resource. If that means knocking on the next door neighbor's county's door saying we need your assistance, I'm calling them because I want to give you results. Thank you.
The last question from the audience is addressed to all three, go in the same order. It's basically a personal question about you guys. And first, when did becoming sheriff become a goal of yours? And second, what have you done and what specifically about your experience as a law enforcement officer has prepared you for the role?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm certified by the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. I've had the opportunity to work undercover on many operations. I've had the opportunity to work with local, federal, and state agencies all across the state of South Carolina and elsewhere. I've owned my own business for over 14 years. So that allows me the experience, that gives me the experience administratively to deal with budgets. So that qualifies me alone, just being the next sheriff of Jasper County, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole lot of things that we all can say, and I know why I decided to run to be the next sheriff of Jasper County. What made that ultimate decision for me? And I'll give you very brief, and I know we're on time for it. But there were some unethical things going on within the Jasper County Sheriff's Office that Sheriff Jenkins and Sam Wood know about as well. That's why I decided to run, because those unethical things and illegal activity that was taking place inside the Jasper County Sheriff's Office, I decided to stand up against it. Vote for me on June 12th of 2012, ladies and gentlemen, so we can get our Sheriff's Department in the correct order that the citizens rightfully deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creed. I've trained for 28 and a half years to become your next sheriff. I started as a patrolman, and I worked my way up to chief deputy. Nobody gave me that. Nobody walked in the door and said, Sam Woodward, you're going to be the next chief deputy. I worked. I went to school. I learned. I trained. I worked many homicide out here. I spent many a night out here chasing drug dealers around Jasper County. I worked a boot-coodle of break-ins. I was staying over in Georgia half the time when we was having all these rations and break-ins around here. I've worked my whole life to become your next sheriff. Now in 2010, I put in the newspaper, when one door shuts, another one may open. And that's what's happened. It's opened and given me the opportunity to become your next sheriff. But I've worked my whole entire life for this job. I have the passion, I have the desire, I have the willpower to get out here and work every day it takes to make Jasper County a safer place for you and I. Thank you.
Let me say this, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be amiss. It started with my mother, birth, brought me in this world. That's where it started. Did not just start at the sheriff's office, did not just start at any particular individual, but that's where it started for me. Respect, working hard, being dedicated. Since I've been sheriff, having the experience as it, I've graduated from sheriff school in 2008, mandatory school. Also graduated from the Carolina Command College through the FBI, where we went to school. I graduated from REMI, which is the Rural Executive Management Institute. There have been several classes that we've taken and we've been very successful. It's not, as I heard it said earlier, it's not about just calling out where we've been and what we've been doing. We've been dedicated. I've been in one agency all my life right here, not all my life, but I've been in one agency in my career. 26 years of my life has been dedicated to you. Every burden, every tear, I've seen families break down. I've seen families hurt, seen families going through a lot. I've been here. I'm asking you to stay with me June 12, 2012, and you will not be disappointed. Thank you very much.
And we'll then finish up kind of 30-second closing statement for general rebuttal, and Mr. Mitchell will start off.
Ladies and gentlemen, I took an oath to serve and protect the citizens of Jasper County. In doing so, I bust my butts to go from a uniformed deputy under Sheriff Riley. He saw something in me that you all saw in him to promote me to a detective. Many officers work their entire career and never make it to that level. I did it in just 2 years. That speaks a lot for me, knowing that all of you in here supported Sheriff Benjamin Riley. I think that says something about me and the kind of person I am. Sheriff Riley had the trust in me to go out here and serve and protect you, the citizens of Jasper County. That's what I took the oath for. Just like my father took the oath to serve this country in Vietnam War, I know the meaning behind the oath. My integrity is intact. People trust me. They call me all the time when it comes down to murders and drugs and things of that nature. All of those arrests, probably half of those arrests that Sheriff Jenkins stated, since he's been sheriff, most of those arrests come through me. Ask Sam Wood. I was on the hunt. They needed something, they needed a situation solved in Jasper County, I was the go-to guy. Many of you know that in Robertville. I've come down here to the club. I was the only deputy that those people in Robertville could call when they wanted to give out accurate information that they didn't have to worry about coming back to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creed. And just to add to what I said earlier, I'm the engine that's going to create the situation to run the drug dealers and the people breaking into your homes, stealing your cars, and bothering your children in school, and all that stuff, the bullying that's going on, the drug dealing that's going on, because I'm ready to put officers in every one of our schools to help educate our children to not be bullied and serve drugs while they're in school. And I want to educate the elderly. I want to tell them, this is what you need to do if you need help from the sheriff's office. I want to get out here in the community. I want to start an advisory committee, starting right here in Robertville, Pineland, Coosahatchee, Grays, everywhere. I want somebody on the advisory board coming to the sheriff's office and let's sit down and say, what do you need? What do you need from me? What can I do to help you get things done in your community and make it safer for everybody? That's what I plan on doing. I'm going to be that engine because I've worked my whole entire life to get to that position. And I'm ready to serve you as your sheriff. All I need is you, and all I need you, and I want you to do is go to those polls on June the 12th and vote Sam Woodward for your next Jasper County Sheriff. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have 28 years. Never ran my own business, but I ran a county with your help. You voted me in. I can't tell you I've sat there and I've done this in 28 years. Don't have 28 years experience. Never ran a business, but I ran this county. It has been an esteemed pleasure serving you. Everything that you hear the gentleman speaking about, we have. We have officers in every component of this county, from the schools that have grants. We work with our senior citizens. We work in every aspect, and we want to continue to do that. To not give you that service would be a robbery. I want to continue to be your sheriff, and the only way I can do that is for us to come together as a team. Not I can't do it by myself, but us, from communities to law enforcement. The key is having you there will make a difference on June the 12th to put me back as the incumbent. Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.